Hello again guys and welcome back to my channel. In this video I would like to show you just a couple of minutes of gameplay of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and talk about this looming question that was on the mind of a lot of people before the game was released, and that is how much of a Souls game is actually the new Star Wars game Jedi Fallen Order. In this video I would like to show you a couple of mechanics and talk about them that are kind of similar to the Souls game. So here we have a hidden boss. This is in the first planet that you go after the initial events of the game. And here you can see that there is a recovery mechanic that is kind of like in the Bloodborne game, if you remember. So what I mean by that, so in Bloodborne, in some cases in which you lose your blood echoes and die near a lot of enemies, sometimes the enemies are going to just consume your blood echoes and become this like enhanced version of themselves with these glowing purple eyes, if you remember that. Okay, so in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order we have something that is kinda similar to that. If you die to a actual opponent here, in the next fight you're going to see him glowing with this specific yellow light. You're gonna see that thing one more time here while I'm fighting this hidden mini boss. Okay, so as you can see, he's glowing with this yellow color, which means that I have died to this boss. I'm playing on the hard difficulty on Jedi Master. And after I hit him only once, I can recover the experience and then recover your life, which means if you get hit by the boss or by the opponent before you're able to recover it, you can get your life back after you got hit once, for example. Okay, now let's talk about the roles in this game. Okay, now as you can see right now, the roles are kind of similar to Neo. If you remember Neo, if you have played the beta of Neo 2, it was the same. If you are in the middle stance, okay, if you're in the middle stance, you can press evasion twice and you're going to get a evasive move, which is something like a small dash, and then that is going to transition into a like a Dark Souls roll. Okay, so you need to press the evasion button twice, and you can do that in either direction, and you will be able to evade the opponent's attacks with the dash and then with the roll. So it's not like in traditional Dark Souls games in which you just have a regular roll. You need to account for the dash and then for the roll. Okay, this is how the game works. Of course, there is also a jump in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which can remind us a little bit of Sekiro. Maybe you can evade some attacks of opponents with jump, and you can of course jump back from certain attacks. Next, I would like to talk about the parry timings. Okay, so the parry timings are very interesting. In this game, Jedi Fallen Order, you can only fight with the sword and of course with the force, which is something like a magic attacks. But when you're fighting opponents from the melee range, you can parry pretty easily, in my opinion. The timing is not that complicated and that strict. But it also depends on the difficulty level. This is, in my opinion, the most interesting, innovative thing about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So, based on the difficulty level, the timings of your parry may differ a lot. So, in the easiest difficulty, you can just like parry very easily. Like the window is super large. You can actually see that right here. So the timing of the parries becomes smaller and smaller on the higher difficulties. The enemies become more aggressive, which I don't exactly know what it means. Does it mean that they attack more often, or do they do like something like a different attacks or something like that? I'll have to like test this, but I'm not sure yet. Anyway, the enemies become more aggressive and you take more damage. Like taking more damage on a higher difficulty is of course a given, but the thing with the window parries is very interesting in my opinion. It kind of reminds me of Nier Automata difficulty settings, if you remember. So on Nier Automata, on the higher difficulties, you actually have to control the character in a different way. What I remember right now off the top of my head is that you on the hardest difficulty you were just required to control your drone manually when you're shooting opponents, something like that. So I really think that this difficulty settings changes and variations in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order are very interesting indeed. Lastly, I would like to talk about the feeling of the combat in general. So the most important thing that you need to know about this game in terms of combat is that there is no stamina in this game. Okay, you can attack as much as you want, like your attack animations vary, but you don't need to like worry about stamina or anything like that. The only consumable resource is of course your force powers that you can use as magic, as I told you before, and of course the steam recovery packs, which function like Estus flasks. The animation of the recovery with the steam pack in this game is very fast. It's almost on the same speed as Bloodborne in my opinion. So it's faster. It's faster than the traditional Souls games for sure, and it's maybe a little bit slower than Bloodborne, but it's still very fast. You're not going to have problems recovering health with steam pack during combat. You're probably not going to be required to just measure your healing timings very carefully in this game like in the traditional Souls games, so that's interesting, I guess. That's easier than traditional Souls games, but nevertheless on higher difficulties, on Jedi Master, on the difficulty that I'm playing for example, there are some opponents that can still kill you in just 2 hits, so be careful with that. And the very last thing that I would like to talk about in this game is the level design in terms of comparing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order to traditional Souls games. So I think that the level design is cool and interesting. It has a lot of secrets. There are a lot of things that you'll be able to discover if you just like go and explore around the levels a little bit. There is also certain secrets that cannot be uncovered unless you have done something in a different area. You have unlocked certain other secrets or certain other skill for your character. For example, you can run on walls, which can help you like go in certain like secret rooms and recover certain secret powers for your character, so that's cool in my opinion. And overall I like the game a lot. I'm not sure how much of a replayability it's gonna have. I still haven't finished it, but if you're a Souls fan, I think you're gonna like this game. There is quite a bit of challenge when you play on the higher difficulty, so check it out if you have time, guys. In the next video I will probably show you something like boss battles on the higher difficulty levels. If you're interested, please write down in the comments what you think about this game if you have played Souls games, or just your overall impressions if you have just watched gameplay on the internet. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!